Sonic Racing CrossWorlds is pretty hype. You know, I want to try something risky. Actually, I probably shouldn't. Yo! Sonic Racing CrossWorlds is pretty cool.
Let's go, baby!
Wait, I got him! I got him! No, the trail. Oh, it's over. It's fucking over.
No!
Oh, you you
just Sonic Racing CrossWorlds is actually insane.
Very gentle.
Bro, this is carnage! So, Sonic Racing CrossWorlds is the purest form of fun I've had in a long time, and I had no idea what kind of drugs Sega injected into this game, but whatever they did to it has me and my friends completely captive by the balls, and I'm all for it.
What the what? Dude, we were only on Sonic Racing for a second and almost half an hour passed. Let me try. Dude, we need to leave now!
And I'm gonna be real with you, when this game first came out, I think I had like 2 nights off of work. I played the game for 20 hours straight almost. I think I played all night. I started at like 8 or 9 p.m. And when I look back at the clock, it was freaking like 10 a.m. the next day. And I was like, oh my god, but I wanted to play so much because this is the only time my friends were online. I was like, all right guys, I'm gonna take a quick 4-hour nap and I will be back to grind more CrossWorlds with you. And people were laughing at me. They were just sounding like, oh, Tay's got a problem. But no, when you look online, literally just type in Sonic CrossWorlds is addictive or something. There are so many people talking about how good this game is. And really, you know, don't take my word for it. I'd say look at everyone else's reactions and play it for yourself. The free demo's still out there. That's one thing I think that really helped this game. It's wild to me that people from outside the fandom are checking it out purely because of the quality gameplay. Seeing people that are not normally Sonic fans actually getting into Sonic via CrossWorlds is really cool, because by comparison, I used to never care about who Crash Bandicoot was until I played CTR for the first time. And that game was enough for me to become a big fan and get into the Crash universe and start playing all the games. So around the time of this video, Hollow Knight Silk Song, Pac-Man World 2 Repack, and some other notable games have been released. And if there's one game I didn't expect to take off, it's really this game. From the advertising to the public beta test and then the full release, I just want to take a minute to yammer and spill my thoughts about the game early on. So, there's a pretty common statement I like to make, and it's that there are 3 kinds of racing games. You got your kart racers like Mario Kart, where the gameplay revolves around simple drifting and heavy item usage. Then you got your arcade racers. These games kind of focus more on speed, maybe some sort of boost meter, and the heavy use of drifting to a comical degree. Games like Daytona USA 1 and 2, Outrun Coast to Coast, Scud Racer, Hot Shot Racing, and Victory Heat Rally thrive in this department. Items are more rare in these games, so the thrill usually comes from mastering the drift mechanics as much as possible. And finally, you have your simulation racers like Gran Turismo and Forza Horizons, which focuses more on realism, like emulating how real cars control and taking corners safely, and the importance of braking. Now, that's not to say these elements don't cross over into each other at all, and there are plenty of gray areas, but this 3-tier distinction helps separate games into more manageable categories that lets me help recommend racing games to other people. So let's talk about that gameplay. That gameplay though, when people say it's like crack, it's for a good reason. It's because everything is so expertly crafted to work together that you rarely have to think when you drive. It's like you get into that flow state. When you get into a nice drift, get around those corners, you pull out a good item, you block something, you attack someone. It all feels very fair and very justified. Everything has an intended feel to it. This doesn't feel like, oh, let's make some, you know, jank tracks and then just drop people in them for the the sake of, you know, for the sake of nostalgia bait. A lot of these tracks that exist in Sonic Racing CrossWorlds legitimately feel like they deserve to exist for a reason. And the best part is that these aren't like some tracks and other kart racers where it's like, oh, here's a track, but it's themed after this. And it's just, you know, it could have just been a basic boring circle, but oh, it's dotted with, you know, funny things from this franchise, so it's based after, like, no, certain courses, I'm thinking like off the top of my head, like Eggman Expo, right? Or something like some of the CrossWorlds, like the Dino segment or whatever. You're driving through these environments, which is really cool to me. It's a part of it. That's why I liked about CTR. What you're doing in this racing game is driving through actual environments. You're not driving through tracks that are just designed with the theme. And that's why I love the whole CrossWorlds aesthetic. I don't know, it sticks out to me. It makes me feel like I'm actually part of the environment. So all the hazards actually feel justified. They don't feel like, oh man, this is annoying in the way. Because I'll be real, when I play a lot of racing games, I really don't like having hazards on, but CrossWorlds, I actually feel comfortable with having them on, because it's like, you know what? No, it feels justified why there's a big dinosaur here, or why, you know, in Eggman Expo, I think the Egg Dragoon can, like, at the third lap, go out and attack you, which is really cool. That stuff is nice. Not to mention the insane, like, amount of customization and design you get, top it all. Some of my friends have taken their creative liberties and made some things that I don't think, oh boy.
I have to guess.
What? What is that, man? I made a car here. Pretty simple, nothing too crazy, but I've been standing the Werehog most of my playthrough, and it's just absolutely a joy. It does suck that a lot of the DLC characters aren't gonna have any voice acting at all, which I kind of get. The devs did the best they could. I can only imagine how much more it would have cost to get, you know, Tom Kenny to do SpongeBob and some other voices. Yeah, maybe there's that, but at the end of the day, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I do feel it is weird that the Werehog doesn't have any voice lines, because I know Sega fully owns Unleashed, and like there's plenty of voice clips they could have used from there, but in most of my footage here, I'm actually using a mod that adds in the Werehog voice clips during the gameplay and stuff. Oh, and the gadgets that you can use in the game are so well made too. So you get this plate thing, and you can equip like different gadgets that like augment almost anything in your ride. You know, you can max out your speed, handling, blah, 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 you know, typical stuff like that. But then there's other more important things, like being able to speed up with more rings you collect, or being able to drift faster and all that stuff. And while no one has found a meta build yet, thankfully we don't even need that, and I hope it doesn't exist. But for the time being, there are so many ways you can build a unique car and build that every race feels chaotic and more different from the last. You know, it rarely feels like you're just driving through the motions and you're like, oh man, can we just hurry up already? It feels like you're always in the hype of the moment. And then it's always lap 3 where things go from insane to just pure chaos.
Also slightly unrelated, but I ended up recording some gameplay of Buck Up and Drive and comparing it to the final lap of CrossWorlds, and it kind of blew up, so I just want to say, if you like that game, play it. It's pretty good.
I've had so many races where I am like about to finish or I'm about to lose, and at the very last second something happens. And I mean, like, either I overtake someone or they overtake me. It's genuinely like kart racing fun. I absolutely love it. Okay, editing say here in the middle of the video, I just realized when you're finishing a race and you're in the final stretch, they remove what placement you're in. But the fact that I didn't notice it till I was editing is so funny, because holy crap, no! No! This really does hype up the final stretch of a race. Just wanted to point it out, but I thought it was pretty cool. Yo! I got it! This is definitely one of those games that makes you feel like I'm him, that's me, I'm Sonic, or whoever you want to be. Like, I'm hitting that. I'm goated, baby! Yes! Oh my god, and how could I have forgotten about the some of the other CrossWorlds ads? The one notably recreating the old, you know, Sega versus Nintendo one.
We all know that kart racing game. It's great. We don't need to show it to you. But what if you can blast through and race on a whole nother level?
Either way, the fact that they even remade that ad shows how much guts Sega has. But at the same time, it's like, you know, the heat for Mario Kart World to get improvements is like really strong these days. And so the fact that Sega was like, you know what, everyone's kind of criticizing Mario Kart World for its gameplay and lack of options and stuff. And so here comes Sega just straight up, you know, twisting the knife and just like, you know what, let's bring back one of our goated ads. And I absolutely think that is hilarious. I think what's even funnier also is the aftermath of what this ad has done for the community as a whole when coming to Sega versus Nintendo again. Honestly, the console wars have never ended. I think the banter is funny, but now that we have this ad, it has given Sonic fans the most powerful image in all of history, which is posting that RV camper right there underneath any tweet when someone's talking about Mario Kart.
Granny creams, hot butter ice cream. We take the hot butter, mix it with the ice cream, freeze it up cool, you can see it on your screen. Put it in your microwave, make it real hot like a soup or a dip. We call it heat and sip. Very tasty and healthy too. Granny creams, hot butter ice cream.
Now, obviously, I don't condone doing this to just harass random people that talk about how much they like Mario Kart World. You know, that's kind of a dumb thing to do. But however, people were posting this underneath of Nintendo's official Twitter account when they had made another announcement about Mario Kart World. And honestly, it's just the funniest thing ever. People are saying that like, oh, you're so corny and lame for doing this. But I'm like, Nintendo's a big corporation. We're not gonna hurt their feelings by being a little corny underneath the replies by taunting them, you know. And I guess I never really want to even get into the whole Mario Kart World versus Sonic Racing CrossWorlds like debate with the whole back and forth, because at the end of the day, they're both their own games. I could see if Sonic was trying to be more of a kart racer, but that's the thing. Mario Kart and Sonic CrossWorlds are both two very different games, even if Sonic is advertising itself as a competitor. If anything, Sonic should be shooting to be better or much more different than Mario, you know? I'm kind of tired of how many companies just take, oh yeah, let's do the kart formula, and they don't really add much to it. CTR is one that I like though, that definitely changes it up a bit. But yeah, going to Mario versus Sonic in this whole debate, people are talking about how like, oh, the open world's lame and you know, the game's a bit slower and yada yada. But then to Mario Kart's advantage, it does have a really lot of cool trick features. You know, the open world is interconnected really nice. The multiplayer is pretty much seamless. And then, you know, we look over at Sonic, you know, Sonic does so many good things. You have focused tracks that feel good to play over and over and over again. So I feel like it's pretty lame to say that Mario Kart quote unquote lost this battle, when in reality Mario Kart sets out to do something very different. Also, it being $80 is going to be, well, it's definitely going to be the easiest one to pick at or pick on in a lot of discussions these days. You know, Sega is the king of arcade racers, and having so many talented developers on the team means that they're able to produce something really high quality when it comes to racing. Again, like I brought up earlier, they've worked on games like Daytona and Outrun. There's so many things out there, and so having a bunch of those old heads come back and basically inject the arcade perfection into a game like this really makes it stand out. From the smoothness of the drifting to how quick and simple the tricks are, and then the overall track design, you can really see how they really had their A game for this game set up. I mean, I could go on a detailed breakdown of a bunch of their older games and how they've taken bits and pieces from the past and kind of put it into this game to make it as good as it can be, but I feel like that's kind of over-explaining, because the reality is that if you've played it for yourself, you've really gotten a good idea of how the game is, and you've probably come to actually like play it. For example, when they did the open network test a while ago, so many people got on to play it, and I really feel like this helped the overall reception of the game, because in reality, a lot of people had a bit of a, I would say, cautious optimism when it came to Sonic Racing CrossWorlds. Like, wow, like Extreme Gear is back, you know, we saw these characters returning and stuff, but let's be real, at the end of the day, it's very easy for Sega and any company to show off a bunch of characters and cool nostalgia bait from the past, but to actually follow through with it is a very scary idea, because it's probably just more junk. Actually, that's why I wanted to talk about the ads and like the buildup of the game. The funniest thing is that the first cinematic teaser dropped around like 2024 during the Game Awards, and it's kind of what sparked the internet to start speculating on what the game would include, because only Shadow was shown in the intro. He simply starts a car and then just drives drives off. One little funny detail I noticed, and I'm not sure if it's intentional or not, is how Shadow is clearly in a realistic city before driving off into the ring. You know, it doesn't look like any city we've really seen before. And if you look at the previous video, which was for the Sonic 3 movie DLC, you can see Shadow in a realistic city. Now, maybe I'm looking too deep into this, but there seems to be a fun way to transition from the movie game tie-in, which used rings as portals, into the racing game. Little bit of a random thing I thought of, but I just thought it'd be funny to throw out regardless. Now, after that trailer, we got the official announcement trailer, and then a history video of Sonic's past racing game. There was a couple cheeky partnerships with like Red Bull and stuff, but the funny thing about this ad with Red Bull was how it brought up more controversy surrounding Rouge's design and her, let's say, lack of body, fueling the debate online that Sega is trying to remove all the curves from her. And while I do think Sega has been making some weird choices for censoring Rouge, I do feel like using this ad as ammo was kind of weird because I don't think Sega's normal team animated this. I mean, everyone looks a little bit off in this, but I digress. After that was the Summer Games Fest trailer that showed more of what we knew and more tidbits of gameplay. Then during the Kids' Choice Awards trailer, we got to reveal that SpongeBob and Patrick were going to be in the game. Now, this was also around the same time that massive leaks about the game started to crop up online, spoiling future CrossWorlds and crossovers, and I want to ethically avoid that. Following that was another partnership video with McLaren, and I think this is the first time we were shown the split-screen multiplayer, which was pretty cool. Now, shortly after that, we got the official music video for the game, and while I thought it was harmless, I do remember seeing people online calling it extremely corny, and while it's no Crush 40, I can't take these people too seriously when people unironically jam to look-alike in the lyrics Ice Water's Digging Cow and all that stuff. Granted, a majority of the criticisms were also from a leaked version of the song. I remember, I think it had like double audio or something, but I don't care. After that was another teaser, a gadget showcase, and then more partnership videos. And one notable thing though was the CrossWorlds Crosstalk episodes. The Crosstalk episodes leading up to the release of the game, there was about 8 of them in total, and it used this really cool unique artwork that was reminiscent of like the writer style, but also, you know, more in line with the modern style. And this stuff goes so hard to the point where people actually took this artwork and modded it into the game to show over the models and the character select screens, and I'm not gonna lie, it goes pretty hard. Also around this time, this is when we got the full animation for the Sonic CrossWorlds like episode thing. I think it's like around 4 minutes long or something, but goodness, this is beautiful. I think this was made by the same people that did the Shadow Generations one, and it's just kind of amazing to see like Sonic still has it in terms of style, the sauce, everything, you know? Sure, the modern models could be updated to help reflect that a bit more, but when it comes to Sonic as a multimedia franchise, you know, in terms of the comics, the movies, you know, the animations we get, I freaking love it. It's absolutely gorgeous and beautiful, and everyone that was involved in this project did an amazing job. And then I think after that, we finally got the launch trailer. So obviously, more was to be revealed. For instance, we just got Mega Man announced as part of the DLC, and we have confirmation of much more. I also want to bring up how there was a really cool 4Gamer article that says Sonic Racing CrossWorld was developed by Sega's arcade game development team, just as I had, you know, suspected. You know, the game's so good, you can tell that this has a lot of veterans put into it. And I won't read through the entire article, but you can kind of see that when they were making this, they were like, hey, we should make this part of the game similar to like Daytona, or this part, like give it a little bit of a Sega Rally influence. And you can tell when it comes to some of those turns and drifts and tricks and shortcuts you can do, they really got it all. And if you're someone that's never really played Sega's past arcade racing games, this may sound kind of crazy to you, but like as personal homework, what I want you to do, I want you to, honestly, some of these games you can't even play on a modern console anymore, so I know you probably got a PC. Go emulate or play like Daytona USA 1 or 2 or Outrun Coast to Coast. Games like that will give you a whole new appreciation for what it means to be a true arcade racer. As a quick example, I wanted to bust out some gameplay of Daytona USA 2 of me doing a race.
Oh no!
And seeing how close things really get when you get down to the wire on the last lap. And this is essentially how it feels to do any sort of racing in Sonic Racing CrossWorlds.
Oh!
Woo!
Oh my god!
Nice. Very good.
especially Outrun, if you really want to feel what good drifting is. I think another funny thing I just want to bring up out of the blue is the pricing problem that some people were getting up in arms about. Now, the reality is, if you like a game and you want to get it, go ahead and buy it. I'm not here to be your nanny and start yelling at you saying, "You're the problem, what's wrong with you?" I honestly think people should be able to enjoy what they want, because the reality is that even though things are going up, you need to be smart with your money. Don't buy what you don't want and only play what you like. And I think people are equating you buying overpriced games for being part of the problem, which is a little weird in my opinion, because it's like, all right, cool, what do you want me to play then? Either way, going back to the pricing thing. So some people started saying, oh, Sonic Racing CrossWorlds is overpriced and now it's like more expensive than Mario Kart World. But then people are like, oh, this is a better value than Mario Kart World. I think it's just good to lay out some facts right here, because too many people are starting to get very hyped up about prices, and then there's these weird stipulations that start being made. Because I remember a lot of people saying, oh, Mario Kart World's $80, but then people were saying, well, actually it's technically $50 if you buy the Nintendo Switch bundle, Nintendo Switch 2 bundle. But then there's people like, well, technically Mario Kart World is like, you know, an additional $80 on top of the, what, $450. You know, it's like, it's technically a $500 game because, you know, you have to buy the console, and it's like, that's a weird excuse also. But laying it out as it is, Mario Kart World by itself, we're not talking about getting a Switch 2, which is weird because, I mean, if you bought Sonic Racing CrossWorlds on the Switch 2, are you going to include the price of the console on that too? But yeah, Mario Kart World is $80 and Sonic Racing CrossWorlds at its base is $70. So yeah, there's a $10 difference. Now, this is where people start to saying, well, Sonic Racing CrossWorlds is technically a $90+ game because there is a season pass you can get for the game that includes all the DLC that's coming in the future. So, you know, characters like Mega Man and SpongeBob and Minecraft and all that stuff. Yeah, there's a season pass for the game. I won't justify the price because I do think it is kind of pricey. Is it really that hard to make $60 games and then have that $30 season pass? You know, they very well could have done that, but I'm gonna say if you're just buying the base game, there's already a ton to do and unlock. It's just $70. I don't think it's that bad as people are making it out to be. Also, you don't have to buy the DLC. Why do people keep acting like DLC is like, because it's like, if I did that for Pokemon games, those games are easily over $100 these days. It's like, oh yeah, the base game, and then you have like this DLC, and then that DLC you gotta buy. It's absolutely atrocious. Don't even get me started about Smash, you know? Smash Bros. Ultimate, and then all the fighters passes for that game. And then you look at like other modern fighting games. So it's like Sonic Racing CrossWorlds is a kind of a breath of the fresh air in a way. I mean, if it was $60, it would have been perfect, but I don't care. What I'm getting at is that if you buy the base game and you like it, there's enough there for you to enjoy. And there's gonna be free updates in the future, which I really like. Either way, I don't know what else I should really say about this game so far. I mean, it's still pretty early on. You know, it's literally still a week from release. There's a lot to come out in the future. So maybe I'll do a full proper review sometime later. But as of right now, I think everything we have is really good. And I'm just happy a lot of my friends are enjoying it just as much as I am. And if let's say you already do enjoy Sonic Racing CrossWorlds and you want more, like I said earlier, please play Daytona USA 1 and 2, Scud Racer, and, you know, Hot Shot Racing, Victor Heat Rally. Play all that stuff if you want more good fluid racing gameplay that maybe has nothing to do with the Sonic brand. And I think my watch is going off. Awesome. Love it. I guess my watch is telling me I need to stop video too. Anyway, this was me speaking. Yada blada. Whatever. Stay foxy, people.
Yes, come on, come on.
No,
No,
let's go, baby! Yes!